What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Six Man Show. It is December 28th, 2020. Luke, just 3 days left in the year. First of all, how was your Christmas?
Christmas was good. I went back to Florida with family and got to be reunited with my wife and daughter, which is awesome. And as an aside, as a result of that, you might hear Harper in the background during this recording because, it's 9 o'clock at night and they're winding down doing their thing. And they're letting me record this. So appreciative of that. But, yeah, you guys might be hearing a little bit of crying here and there.
Bro,
so,
how
other than that,
cold
man,
was it? How cold was it on Christmas here in Florida? Ridiculous.
I mean, it was Florida cold. Like, it was cold.
It was anywhere cold.
left,
It was colder here than it was in New Jersey. That's cold.
Yeah. I mean, it got cold. It got cold. In Omaha, I think it was 9.
Okay, well, that's
just absurd.
The Arctic cold.
I was very happy that I was in Florida comparatively, if that tells you anything. But not. It was good, man. I mean, got to spend a lot of time with family. Got to see everybody. All my family's there, and thankfully our families live in the same city. So it was a lot of fun. It was good to be back, and then now it's good to be back here with them. They haven't been here in over a month, so it's been really good, man.
So it's been a great week all around. Your Orlando Magic are now 3-0. Went 3-0 on the week. Wins against Miami on opening night in the Amway Center. And then in Washington, back-to-back Saturday night. And then tonight, we're recording this on Sunday. Wins against the Wizards, Luke. So you and I really haven't talked at all about how we felt about the game, our reactions, everything like that. We wanted to save it for the pod. So
yeah,
I try not to think.
I try not to text you during games very much because, and especially in pivotal moments when the game's close, because I know you're probably on a more immediate thing than I am. I don't watch streams online, but if I did, there's a lag, and so I don't like spoilers. So I try not to look at Twitter. You handle the live tweeting during games typically, and so yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about it. Tonight was a roller coaster. I'll out myself here, all right? I will read a text that I sent you when the Magic were probably when they were right at the peak, down 17. I texted you, and I said, whenever you want to start recording. And I said, let me know.
Yep.
I was
ready.
Partially kidding.
No, I know.
But part of me probably would have hopped on and started recording a podcast about how the Magic are 2-1. And call me a pessimist. Call me whatever you want. But at that point, after the start that Orlando had, and we can get deeper into this, but after the start you have, the bench comes in, and T. Ross lights it up and gets Orlando back into the game. And then the second half starts the same way the first half did, except worse, which I didn't think was possible. And they go on to double us up in the third. So, yeah, I was just ready to record the podcast at that point. But, Jonathan, kind of where was your head at throughout this whole game?
So I made anybody that listens to the pod, if you don't follow us on social media, first of all, do that, because I think there's a lot of elements that Luke and I bring to the table as far as Magic content that you don't get if you're exclusively listening to the podcast. Like you said, like the in-game tweets, the stuff that we post to the Instagram, everything like that. Like the interaction is a ton of fun. So, but after every game, I do like my little 1 minute reaction to the game.
Big fan.
Last night, I appreciate that, Luke. You're very, very kind.
Yeah,
but no, last night, oh my gosh. Last night, I said, after we won, right, because it got hairy there. We went up and down. Fourth quarter, Vooch and Markelle did their thing. We pulled out the win. But I said after the game, this team very well may prove me wrong that they're a much better offensive team than they were last year. If Markelle is going to improve, Terrence looks like he's back to the form of 2 seasons ago when he was, deemed the human torch. Adding Chuma and Cole to that bench unit, right? Like I was like, okay, there is a road for this team to be much better offensively than they were last year. However, if what we're seeing is a fluke, the defense that we're seeing from this team is not going to cut it. Okay, and I felt almost immediately validated tonight when the defense was just excuse my language, but piss poor.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely terrible in the first quarter with the starters, and then even to start the third quarter with the starters. In both instances tonight, in the second quarter and the end of the third and early part of the fourth quarter, it was the bench that played their butts off and got us back into those games.
Yeah.
So my big takeaway right now is that I've been saying this since last October, but I had an epiphany tonight. Either this team has just completely stopped caring about playing defense, or Jonathan Isaac should have won the Defensive Player of the Year in 2018-2019.
Right.
As good as that defense was, and we haven't even come anywhere near that since May of 2019 playing Toronto. We haven't come anywhere near that for an extended period of time in so long. It just doesn't make sense. Either the team doesn't care anymore, or Jonathan Isaac is the biggest difference maker on the defensive end in the history of the NBA, which you could convince me of.
Yeah. I mean, and that career has just begun too, and so there's a lot there and a lot to unpack. But
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, no. Listen, you're kidding, but we all know you could get there eventually. Is all I'm saying. You could get there. A few years down the road, who knows what happens with J.I. Regardless, to your point, yeah, defensively, the Magic just kind of haven't. I guess apathetic might be the word sometimes. I don't want to go back to picking on Evan Fournier because he has been better than I thought he would be this season. There was a couple times tonight, though, early on, the beginning of the game, where fans are frustrated, the Magic going down early, the starters just aren't playing well at all. Then to add to that, Evan Fournier gets backdoored. He wasn't even looking in that general direction of where his man was. So there was some uncertainty there. He had that happen a couple times. But then you've got guys like in the fourth quarter that make you think like, okay, what could this team be? I mean, we scored what over 40 in the fourth quarter. It was like 43, 44 or something like that. Maybe you could check on that.
43.
But 43. So, I mean, and a lot of that comes from defense. I mean, you got a lot of momentum from getting stops. MCW was playing his butt off defensively there at the end. A lot to credit there to him. While he might frustrate us on the offensive side, you need that guy in the fourth quarter who can, provide that spark defensively. And MCW was able to do that tonight. Also, in the aspect of defense, Nikola Vucevic, people were dogging him all night on defense. But guess what? Final pivotal play of the game, Bradley Beal taking the ball to the rim. Brad Beal, per usual, gets a blow-by, and Vucevic steps up, straight up and down, doesn't lean into him, doesn't give any additional contact, no call. Bradley Beal tries to sell it per usual, and that's the game. I mean, Vucevic stepped up when it mattered most. Granted, there was some faults earlier in the game, but I mean, when the guards are getting absolutely just roasted the whole time, I mean, there's so many chances for the guards of Washington to score, and it's hard at that point to get Vucevic, engaged, because he's just like, okay, one after the other, like these guards are getting to the rim at will. At what point am I even able to help as much anymore? Like he's still using energy. He's one of our best offensive players, all that stuff. So, Jonathan, what do you think?
I have a quick question, right? And I feel so silly now that I've actually pulled up the numbers. So far, these 3 games, right? It just feels like Vooch hasn't been up to snuff, right?
Right.
We've won. He's come up huge in big moments when we need him to. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, all right, Vooch just hasn't quite got to that level yet. Do you want to know what this man is averaging right now on the season? 18.5, 14 rebounds, 41.7% from 3. Yeah. So it's just so strange to me that what I've seen out of Vucevic, the eye test, if you will, doesn't match the production. That's how good this guy is. People do not realize that. In my opinion, Vucevic will go down as one of the most underappreciated players in Magic history. He's
top
already
5.
top 5. He's top 5. All right.
Yeah.
Luke and I have deemed that as I'm doing the Trump hands here.
Oh Lord.
Look, all right. Politics aside. Anyways, but Vooch has started the season really, really well, but for whatever reason, the eye test to me hasn't really told you that. okay? But, yes, exactly what you alluded to. People are just coming for this dude nonstop on Twitter, especially defensively, when I don't know what it is. Markelle could not stay in front of Raul Neto. Are you freaking kidding me? Could not stay in front of Neto. Evan Fournier, like, I don't know what to – I feel so bad. Like, I feel like we should be attending his funeral right now because he just cannot – he could not keep Bradley Beal in front of him in a hallway. Like, it's so bad. Now, Bradley Beal is absolutely disgusting. Evan Fournier, despite all of his flaws and everything like that, always tries defensively. Yeah. He just does not have the lateral quickness to stay in front of a guy like that. So Bradley Beal coming into this game, we all knew was going to be a problem.
I mean, have you looked at the box score? Have you seen Bradley Beal's like actual percentages tonight? Because it might surprise you a little bit.
No, it doesn't match what the eye test tells you. I mean, and this is the other thing. The eye test told me that Bradley Beal was getting to the line, and really the whole Wizards team was getting to the line whenever they wanted to, but that's not really the case. I mean, the Magic tonight, let's see what it is, shot 38 free throws.
And how many did they miss?
One.
It was an Evan Fournier lone missed free throw, and that was it.
I mean, and he shot, what was it, 9? Yeah, he shot 9 of 10 from the
right.
From the free
nobody
throw line,
shot bad from the free throw line tonight who got there. So,
all this complaining about the refs I'm doing on Twitter, and the Wizards freaking shot 13 free throws. So
right, and also for those of you who don't know, and you might be thinking, well, what was Brad Beal's stat line? 10 for 29 from the field, and 0 for 7 from 3.
0 for.
And he shot 9 for 9 from the free throw line. So he also made his free throws. Otherwise, he ends the game with 20 points, and it doesn't maybe feel as terrible,
Wizards,
but it was
8 of 32 from 3.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, these are the games you have to win. Like, these are the games you have to win. And hustle played a huge part of it. Have to highlight Cole Anthony tonight. The way that Cole played tonight, he was 3 for 9. But if you go to how many offensive rebounds he had, I mean, he had 7 rebounds tonight, 4 of them on offense. I mean, that's a guy that you can gauge how much a guy hustles by how many offensive rebounds, how often they follow their shot, how often they are chasing long rebounds, and even getting inside. I mean, Cole was going up and getting them. He was crashing the boards. There was even a couple where he tried to go up and get and was way high enough to get it. The defender just had better position. I mean, he was there. He was all over the place on the boards tonight. Cole Anthony really was a difference maker in the 19 minutes he played. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Not bad for a point guard to have 7 rebounds. So, I mean, he hustles.
Plus 18, plus minus. Michael Carter-Williams with a plus 28, plus minus. It's individual game plus minus. Let's not freak out about it. But it's pretty significant. And it feels like each of these games so far, like, Cole is going to have some absolutely disgusting putback dunks this year. It just seems like, especially on the offensive glass, he's always crashing, and he just finds these seams where he jumps and he's at the rim, and he's, like you said, he's got a chance to get to the ball. Sometimes the defender's in better positioning or whatever the case may be, but he just skies for these rebounds. They were talking tonight how at Oak Hill Academy in high school, he averaged a triple-double. Mm-hmm. I mean, Mr. Russell Westbrook himself at Oak Hill. So, yeah, I'm still really excited about Cole. I think Terrence has just been playing so well these first few games. I mean, what was it, 25 points last night, 26 points tonight.
He's the leading scorer for the Magic.
Yeah, Cole really hasn't had, like, the real opportunity to get it going offensively. I think we'll see that at times this year. But, again, Terrence has just been so good. What else are the guys on the bench going to do? Just pin down for Terrence or a dribble handoff, and he's just pulling up, and everything seems to be going in right now. So
yeah, and yes, plus or minus is a very skewed statistic, but especially for guys like MCW. I mean, plus 28. It's just he was on the court with T. Ross most of the time. T. Ross is lighting it up. Of course, he's going to be have ridiculous numbers. But where you can actually factor that in, that plus or minus, is with guys like T. Ross and guys who put up big numbers in the points column, especially where T. Ross is plus 22. So that's just kind of a tidbit for people to look at. Plus or minus for role players usually doesn't matter. But if there are guys that are putting up that are kind of your team leaders, that does matter. So yeah, I mean, yeah, like Gary Clark, 0 points at plus 18, just for reference. And Jonathan, I don't know if you want to get into this. He only played 16 minutes tonight. He didn't attempt a shot. He didn't have a steal. He didn't have a block. He had 1 turnover, 2 assists, 1 rebound. No points. Chuma Okeke. We can gush over this win, but this season, at the end of the day, is about development of our young guys. To me, it still is. This season, we could end up with a below 500 record, but as long as like our young guys like Cole Anthony, who has shown kind of those flashes, Chuma didn't even attempt a shot tonight, and it just might not be that it's just not there for him yet. The game's still coming to him. But do you have a take on that? You don't have to have one, but you might just say like, let's wait and see what happens. But is there, kind of, what do you think?
I mean, the kid hasn't played basketball in almost 2 years. You know what I mean? It's a third NBA game. He's already playing like around like 16 minutes a game, I believe. Especially in the first game against Miami, he had some flashes where it was like, oh man, I didn't know, he had that in his bag, like a couple of dribble moves. His ability to take bigger, slower guys off of the dribble and get decent looks, get into the paint, and either find a good look for himself or for someone else. He had a few flashes of some really nice passes in some of the games and some of the preseason games that we've seen. So I'm not worried about it. I mean, again, that bench unit right now. I mean, we saw Cole Anthony score like 19 points. He had a game winner in one of the preseason games, and right now, tonight 3 of 9 from the floor, 0 of 2 from 3, just 12 points. I mean, it adds the 7 rebounds, which is great. But right now, that bench unit, it's the Terrence Ross show. The guy is shooting just out of his mind right now. He's shooting 51% from the floor, shooting 52% from the 3-point line right now, and just over 6 attempts a game. Like, in my opinion, Terrence Ross has the ultimate green light right now. I mean,
no question.
2 years ago, when he was shooting out of his mind, then it was 38.3% on 7 attempts a game. So this isn't sustainable, and that's one of the things that has kind of worried me in the first couple of games here. Is like we barely squeaked out wins against Washington twice, once with Russ. They're still getting accustomed to each other. That whole team, still learning how they're going to play and everything like that. I will be the first guy to say that Russell Westbrook takes some of the worst shots in the entire league. He is absolutely the worst volume 3-point shooter in the history of the NBA. He just needs to stop shooting 3-pointers altogether. But apart from that, like that game last night, he just had some really terrible, just an awful shot selection. He actually commented on that after the game. So the fact that Ross played so well and we just barely won those games, again, is a little bit alarming. But, I mean, you can't argue with the results. 3 wins, 2 wins against the same team so far. But tons to improve on, but I'm not worried about Chuma.
No, I'm with you there. I just know that people, that are mainly box score lookers, might not have been able to catch the game tonight. We'll look at it and say he didn't even take a shot. But I'll take him not taking a shot over him going 0 for 6. So,
and he didn't look bad. He looked timid tonight. He passed up a few good looks.
Chuma's not going to be a guy who loses you a ball game right now. His play, the way he plays, he might err on the side of caution. That's fine. Like you said, he hasn't played basketball in a long time. He's got a lot of guys on he's got a lot of teammates who are willing to take the shots, willing to do what it takes, and Chuma will get there. I'm not worried about Chuma. But I don't know if you want to talk about this right now, but kind of you talked about your big takeaway. My big takeaway is Markelle Nagai Fultz. That's my big takeaway.
He's an animal.
3 games in, 20.7 points a game. He's almost at the 21 mark. 4.3 assists per game. I'd like to see that maybe be a little higher, but I mean he's showing us like he has vision, he can do it all. But if he's attacking the rim, I mean he's gonna score at will. We've talked about that multiple times. 49% from the field and 92% from the free throw line. Something last year that we looked at his free throw percentage. I think he shot around like 72, 73 last year. You think about it, and you want that to improve. Not only is Markelle, last year he shoots he only shoots 2.3 free throws a game. But if he can hit his free throws, Jonathan, you're going to see a more aggressive Markelle Fultz. And I think up to this point, he shot, like, as of last night, he was shooting like 5.5 free throws a game. Not sure how many free throws he shot tonight. Regardless, he's getting to the line more. And
2 free throws tonight.
2 tonight. Okay, so that average will come down. But regardless, if he knows when I get to the rim, I can get fouled, and I'm confident in my free throw making ability, I mean, all bets are off. He's gonna be much more willing to attack the rim and be that aggressive player he needs to be. And also something he highlighted last night after in the post-game presser was, for me to be aggressive, it doesn't mean that I have to be scoring either. So this is a guy that knows. He knows what he's got to do. I look for all of his averages to go up in every statistical category, as is the case for anybody that's improving at such a rapid pace. But, man, Markelle has just been so impressive. Really glad that Orlando got him for a bag of potato chips, and will forever be indebted to that front office there in Philly.
Well, the good thing, like you said, his shot attempts and everything like that are increasing, and the efficiency is increasing. So not only is he getting more involved, he's making the shots at a higher clip. He is getting to the free throw line more. I think, and I don't want to compare him, in the same sense to like a LeBron or a Giannis or a Dwight or a Shaq, in the sense that those guys are so hard to officiate because like they're so strong. You almost give the defender the benefit of the doubt all the time, and it's like so much contact, but because they're so strong, it doesn't really affect them. With Markelle, it's almost like the reverse. Like, he's so strong that when so far they see Jimmy Butler, take a bump to the chest from Markelle with his feet moving and flies back. Or last night, Russell Westbrook, same thing. Yeah. When those guys fly back, they're like, oh, he's got to be pushing off somehow. There's no way he's that strong that these guys are just bouncing off of him like that. But they are. He is that strong. He is that big. He is that dynamic. And I think the more that these referees see out of him and the more aggressive he is, it's kind of like boxing, right? Like the judges always kind of have that bias towards the aggressor in the fight. If you set the tone from the beginning of the game that you're driving the lane and you're creating that contact as you're going to the rim, those are the guys that you see get the benefit of the doubt and get that increased amount of free throw attempts. So if Markelle can get up to like 6-7 free throw attempts a game, I don't know that he's going to continue to shoot 92% from the free throw line. I think a jump from 73 to 92 would just be absolutely insane and would say a lot as far as his prospects to improve as a shooter going forward.
Yeah.
But if he can stay in like the high 70s, get into the 80s, somewhere like that, and is shooting, 6-7 free throws a game and continues to be as aggressive as he has. I mean, last year, 10 field goal attempts per game. This year, he's at 16.3 already. It's super early. It's 3 games. We know it's a small sample size, but give us a break, guys. Right now, this is all that we have to go off of. So I'm right there with you. Apart from definitely needing to step it up defensively, so I think that's going to come back to bite us, and it did at times last year. Markelle has just blown me away in these first 3 games. I mean, again, averaging what was it, 20.7 points per game right now.
Yeah,
up from 12 last year.
Right.
We're looking at the MIP, guys, if he continues this.
Yeah, if he can continue it, that'd be great. Obviously, it's very early. He's very well rested. As we go on, those numbers will dip and whatnot. But if he can end at 17 a game or something like that, and kind of up that points per game by 5, that'd be incredible, and I'd be pretty ecstatic about that. But I think he'll continue to improve. He'll continue to get to the free throw line, and just continue to be a better version of himself all the time. That being said, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Neto scores his career high tonight, 22 points on 17 shots, 10 of 17. Shoots 25% from 3. I mean, this is a guy that I shouldn't have to be afraid of when Neto shoots the basketball. Like, every time he shot the basketball, it got to that point yesterday even.
Every time he
didn't
touched
score
the
that many, but he
basketball.
didn't miss. Right. And also, by the way, as an aside, if I never have to see a a Thomas Bryant attempted 3-pointer or mid-range shot again, I'll be good.
He's
This
hitting them.
man last night hit all these threes. Tonight, I'm actually surprised looking at the box score that he was 0 for 2 from 3 because I could have sworn I saw 1 or 2 of them go in.
There's a couple long,
but he was
long
8 for
twos.
15. Yeah, and he was 8 for 15 from the field, 16 points. I mean, Thomas Bryant, he's not a bad ball player, and
He's not.
and we know
Plays
that.
with a
but
lot of energy.
That's the thing. That's the thing with playing back-to-backs like this. You're going to get to know rosters a little bit more, I think. You might play a team and, Thomas Bryant might hit a couple threes and then you kind of forget about him, and then the next game, you play him however many games later and you forget. You're going to get to see a lot of these players going back-to-back in the same city every for game series and stuff. So that is one thing. You're going to get to know him. You're probably going to get to hate him a little bit more. Guys like Nato and Thomas Bryant, who really kind of killed us tonight. And
speaking of getting to hate guys a little bit more, what's your thoughts on Bradley Beal the last couple of nights?
Florida Gator. He is a Florida Gator, and I love him because I think he's the Gators, if I'm not mistaken, the Gators' most recent first round pick. And really the most notable Gator that's even in the NBA anymore. All that aside, and my love for him because he is a Gator. Good night. I mean, the dude just doesn't stop talking. He doesn't. He's always got something to say, and that is why I'm so happy that Vucevic did not foul him. I just knew Bradley Beal was going to go to the rim and get fouled on that possession and take the lead, and the Wizards would lead by 1, and we'd have to make a tough shot to win the game. I knew that was going to happen. But I'm so glad that despite him getting blown by, the Magic defender getting blown by, I can't remember who was on him. Was it MCW? I don't remember who it was.
At the end of the game, yeah, it was MCW.
Vucevic being there
actually
saved
there
the
was
game,
some
and
there was some Dwayne Bacon in there. The last it was kind of weird. The rotations we're implementing, like the last series, like Ross went to the bench and Bacon was in. But yeah, it's weird because Beal, honestly, the last couple of years has become like one of my favorite players to watch. I just feel like he's a lot of fun. He's really talented. He's got a couple of like my all-time favorite like meme gifs and stuff like that, like the one where John Wall comes up to him after the game. He's like, I ain't never ever seen you act like this before. Like that's one of my and the one where like somebody calls him trash and he just like
and he looks at him
hits him with
the
a
stands,
smirk. Like that's seeing he's just the last 2 nights, and I don't know if this is going to be like a thing going forward. Maybe he's just in a bad mood the last couple of days. He doesn't like Christmas. I don't know. But
or he's just on the Wizards still.
He's just being such a crybaby, like literally just being such a crybaby the last 2 nights. But
I mean, he averages 30 last year and doesn't get selected.
But
I mean, he's got a lot to be mad about in his career because he plays his butt off every night. Great player, but yeah, just a little frustrated, and I can't really blame him. He's kind of got the short end of the stick there in Washington, but if he's happy there, if he wants to stay there, then he will, and if he won't, he'll tell us. And who knows? We might see Brad Beal requesting a trade sometime soon. I hope we do. But
Magic fans would be all over that, and I would absolutely love to trade for Bradley Beal. I'm not. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying I don't want the guy on my team, but man, the last couple of nights just crybaby Beal. #. Another guy that I wanted to ask you about, who, apart from opening night, like, what was that, Wednesday night against the Heat, or was that Tuesday night? I don't remember.
Wednesday.
Evan Fournier popped off. A large reason that we won that game was because Evan Fournier was just in his bag. Ended the night with 25 points, 4 rebounds, 9 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 5 from the 3. And then again, like these last 2 games against the Wizards, like it kind of felt like he wasn't had a very quiet games.
Yeah.
Right. But so far this season, averaging 19 points per game. Shooting 54.8 from the field and 40% from the 3-point line. And the thing about Evan that all of us have been complaining about, for the last couple of years is his role in the offense, right? In my opinion, other people out there are going to disagree with me. We're not going to kill Evan right now. Luke, I'm telling you, we're not going to kill Evan right now. But the issue has been more so with his role in the offense, right?
Yeah.
these first 3 games, I mean, incredibly efficient game 1 against the Heat. But like tonight, he had 19 points, and it felt like I can't even I cannot even remember like a memorable basket that Evan had tonight. Evan shot 4 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3, but 9 of 10 from the free throw line. The Magic's only miss at the free throw line tonight. Ended up with 19 points in 27 minutes. So give me your take on Evan so far these first 3 games. Do you feel like there's been like kind of a shift in his play style?
Yeah, I think that everybody's kind of in an agreement about Evan Fournier. Rational people are in agreement, and that is Evan Fournier this year is a different looking Evan. He kind of is, at least with Miami, he let the game come to him. He's not really demanding to have the ball and take those shots. Tonight, obviously, it helps that he was aggressive getting to the line. Like you said, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Without those free throws, he's at 10 points on 10 shots. So wasn't great on offense tonight, aside from the free throw aspect, which saved him and saved his stats tonight for sure. So yeah, that's why his performance tonight was quiet. You don't really note free throws very much until you look at the box score and see how many times they went to the line. Same thing with Bradley Beal, but yeah. So I'm not ready to. I don't know where I'm at with Evan Fournier. He's made me reconsider. If that says anything, I do think the Magic should move on from him. But if he can continue just kind of staying in his lane and letting the Markel have the keys and Vucevic do his thing, and I don't know where I stand with Evan Fournier to this point. I don't feel any more strongly towards getting him traded, if that helps.
So, and remember, we're only 3 games in, right? So, like, we're drawing a lot of conclusions off of very small sample sizes. But I would tend to agree with you. If this is the Evan that we're going to see moving forward, who plays much more within the offense, but is still, like, getting his, like, regular attempts,
yeah.
I mean, we bring him back on a team-friendly deal. I don't know. It's way too early to say these kinds of things. But so far, I really like what we've seen out of Evan so far to start the season. I love what we've seen out of Evan. I love what we've seen out of Markel, especially. I mean, Terrence has just been playing out of his freaking mind. So,
what do you think about Aaron Gordon before we move on? He had a quiet night tonight. Didn't do great tonight, but those first 2 games, I think Aaron Gordon deserves recognition there. I think last night he had 15 points on 6 of 12 from the field, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. Quickly pulling up his stats against Miami, 20 points, 8 of 11 from the field. Holy cow. 7 rebounds. Tonight he only finishes with 4 points, but doesn't hurt you too much. He only shot 4 times. He only played 20 minutes, by the way, tonight. So, and he had 6 rebounds. I mean, where do you stand with Aaron Gordon? He's also another guy that we had talked about maybe getting moved sometime soon.
So my take with Evan right now is Aaron is that he's not healthy. I mean, he's still on a minutes restriction, right?
Yeah.
Tonight on a back-to-back, both him and Chuma were on minute restrictions. That's why we saw Gary Clark in there as well. But yeah, he's not 100% yet, right? Like I think he's still mostly just working back like his conditioning, because obviously he had to rehab the hamstring and couldn't obviously work on his conditioning at that time. But like the first game, 20 points, 8 of 11 from the line. 8 of 11 from the floor, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. He had like one of the all-time Aaron Gordon yes, like breakdown pull-up jumpers on Bam Adebayo in the fourth quarter, which was huge, helped us win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then last night, 15 points, 6 of 12 from the floor, 1 of 2 for 3, 9 rebounds. Like that's the Aaron that we need. Tonight, we saw a few flashes of Aaron, and we saw this really from the entire offense tonight. At times, it was like, okay, it's my turn. Like, Markel would have his turn, or Terrence would have his turn, Vooch would have his turn. It was like guys were just like, okay, right now I'm going to try to break my guy down off of the dribble, or I'm going to try to do something like that. Aaron, it's like every time that I start to feel like he's like turn the corner when it comes to his decision making and shot selection. It's like every time I'm starting to feel good about it, he tonight he's bringing the ball up the floor, and instead of passing the ball to Evan or Markelle and letting them initiate the offense, he tries to take like what I call like his slow-mo Euro step into the lane and try to finish over like two guys, and it went exactly how you think it would. It didn't go well. Yeah. So when he does that, it's like, come on, man. Like that's not you're not that guy. Right? Every time I start to feel like he's turned the corner, he's gonna play the way that we want Evan to, and the way that Evan has so far. He does a couple of things like that, but I don't think he's totally healthy yet.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I just want to get your feel on it. Don't think he's totally healthy, but I'm not. Same thing with Evan. I'm not like more to the side of trade him. I'm more to the side of let's see how this continues to go. I mean, he gives us 30 minutes last night, 15 points, something like that on 12 shots, 50% from the field. I mean, if he can do that, that's fine. But yeah, so we'll see. Just another note about tonight. Josh Robbins tweeted this out. Says that 20 points is the largest fourth quarter deficit the Magic have overcome for a win since 96-97 against Cleveland on November 19th, 97. So there's your fun fact of the night. The Magic are 3-0. Last time that happened, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2009-2010 year. And then the comeback tonight hadn't happened since 1997. Not bad.
Not mad at that at all. Let's take a quick break. All right. So, I mean, talking about the comeback from tonight, I did want to bring this up. It was the first time since, like, the 18-19 season where we had a few big comebacks on the road. One was in Memphis. We were down, I think, like 17 points either in the second half or the fourth quarter, came back, went into overtime, won that game, and then the game where we actually clinched that first playoff spot, we were in Boston. I think in the first half we were down by much as like 18 and came back and won that game. Tonight felt like one of those games. Like a few of the comebacks last year, like we can contribute to a couple of things in my opinion. The games where we just could not rebound the ball, and then a lot of the times the bench. Last year it was the bench. Right now it's the starters. The starters give up a lead, the bench brings us back. Last year it was the reverse. Starters would play pretty well, the bench would come in that third unit, and then it would just all go to crap. But tonight, when we got back in that game and we got into like the last 4 or 5 minutes, I turned to my wife, I was like, we're going to win this game. Like this is a game that the Magic are going to win. Like look at our 5, look at their 5. The Magic are going to win this game. And once Markelle realized that Neto could not stay in front of him, the game was over.
Yeah.
Markelle had, I think he probably had like 3 layups in the final few minutes. He probably had like 4 or 5 really good looks. He missed like a super easy one that the game kind of got really squirrely at that point. But how did you feel when we started to come back in that fourth quarter? Like, were you pretty confident that we were going to pull it out?
First of all, I think at that point I was feeding Harper. At that point, so I got the bottle in hand. I'm trying to feed her. I'm watching. I'm trying to cheer at the same time. By the way, and I'm not a multitasker, so that was sheesh. But anyway, Magic start coming back. I'm getting a little louder in the living room. Lauren's like, "What's going on?" Because I had already been real low because we were down 17, and I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." And she goes, "See, you doubt them all the time." I'm like, "Okay, well, listen, they've given me reason. Okay, they've given me reason to doubt." Anyway, they start to come back. 5 minutes left in the game. 4 minutes, 3 minutes. The Magic just continue to hang around, close the gap. At that point, I'm thinking, I still don't feel good about it. You said you were looking at the screen. You're like, they're 5, our 5. See, I knew Bradley Beal was going to come in the game and actually show up there in the final couple minutes and take over and call game. Fortunately for Magic fans, that didn't happen. He continued to kind of struggle from the field, doesn't get that call in the final minute. At that point, obviously, it's over when he misses that layup. I think then Evan goes to the free throw line, knocks down 2 big free throws, 2 of the 10 that he took tonight. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's safe to say in the last couple seasons, the Orlando Magic are inside the heads of the Washington Wizards. Now undefeated in the last, I don't know what it is, 6 meetings against them in the last 6 meetings in the last couple years. And all that to say, Jonathan, these are the games near the end of the year. They don't get highlighted as much at the beginning of the year. But we know coming down the final stretch, it's apparent now, the Wizards and Orlando will probably be kind of jockeying for position in that playoff race, whether it's between the 7 and the 10 spot, right? Near the end of the year, Jonathan, the most anticipated games are the games you play against people that you're jockeying for position with in those standings. All that to say, if you already know who's going to be there at the end of the year anyway, these games are just as important as those ones at the end of the year. So I think that's something to note. This isn't just game 3 of the regular season. This is games 2 and 3 of a very important series, and at the very least, you split with the Wizards. Let's say down the road, when we play them 2 more times, Orlando can split that and win the series 3-1, which would be huge for the standings at the end of the year. So I think that's the biggest thing. Beat the teams that you can beat, and that is how you know that that's a playoff team. You're beating the teams that you should beat. The Magic have a lot of teams in the East that they should beat. If they can win those games, man, I think that it means a lot for the organization and for motivation of the players and confidence of the players to know, like, okay, we beat these guys twice. We can definitely do it again, once or twice more. So it wasn't just game 2 or 3 of the season tonight and yesterday. Like I said, it's very important, pivotal games that the Magic got the win in. Tonight being one of the biggest. So
speaking of standings, so after the first week, the Orlando Magic, your Orlando Magic, sit basically right at the top of the Eastern Conference. So 3 undefeated teams in the Eastern Conference right now. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 3-0. The Orlando Magic are 3-0. And the Indiana Pacers are 3-0. Right below them are the Atlanta Hawks, who are 2-0. I don't know when they play next, but it's early. But the Magic are currently tied for first place in the Eastern Conference. So the week coming up, so I believe this, I think the Magic have tomorrow off, obviously, and then they are back, what is that? Tuesday. To take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. That will be in OKC. And then the Magic are home for the 76ers, and then they play the Thunder again. So, Luke, Markel's played really, really well these first, few games. Hasn't really had like what we would think of as like a big defensive challenge. Mm-hmm. Playing against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this week is going to be a big challenge for Markel. Markel has all the athletic tools and physical tools that he should need to just be an absolutely filthy defender. Right now, I would say that at times the effort is lacking on that end. There's no way he should be getting beat by guys like Raul Neto. Like, that just shouldn't happen. So
yeah, SGA might have a night, but
he might have a night. If you look at the rosters, the Magic should be able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder on paper, right? Just on paper, we should be able to beat the Thunder, right? No Chris Paul, right? They moved a few other guys around. On paper, we should beat the Thunder. Does that mean we're going to beat the Thunder? No. But how do you see this week going? Again, you got OKC twice, and you're playing the 76ers.
Yeah, so first of all, the thing that Magic will have going for them, OKC plays a very good Utah Jazz team tomorrow. They play them tomorrow, and then the Magic are going to be coming off a night of rest. And so, and like you said, on paper, they should win. I mean, OKC has guys like Baisley playing in their first game, played 33 minutes. SGA, 34 minutes, as he should. But then, you got guys like Lou Dort, 35 minutes. So those are kind of their guys to look for. And, of course, some of you guys might have forgotten in the offseason shuffle, George Hill is on Oklahoma City as well. So that'll be interesting. He shot 8 for 9 in his first outing for OKC with 21 points. They're going to get points from their starters. Now, where I think OKC kind of falls off is that bench unit. Got a lot of guys you might look at their roster and think, who. Notable guys on their benches: Mike Muscala. Notable meaning you will know them. Mike Muscala and Diallo on their bench, and that's really it. So, yeah, I mean, Orlando should be able to win. Does that mean they will? Who knows? Hopefully, SGA can stay contained. That's kind of probably be the key. Don't let SGA, get easy buckets and get going, and try to get some buckets on Lou Dort, as hard as that might be. And then you said we got Philly. Is that back-to-back?
It is not back-to-back. We don't have any back-to-backs this week. It's
gotcha.
Yeah, it's
so
the 29th and then the 31st and then the 2nd this week.
31st,
so Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah. So we play OKC again.
They kind of like bookend the week. We play them Tuesday and then Saturday.
Right.
We kind of split down the middle. We got the Sixers at home on Thursday.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, if you can, I'd love for Orlando to be able to beat OKC those two matchups that they have. And then let's say realistically you drop to the Sixers. I mean, what you're looking at?
Who got blown out by the Cavs tonight?
Right, but do we even know if the Cavs are good or not? I don't know. They're 3-0. You read me the Eastern standings, and I was like, right, they're probably not. But people are. If you're having a conversation about the Cavs, you're probably having.
This is a team who was absolutely atrocious. This is a team who was absolutely atrocious on the road last year. So is that going to continue? Who knows? Most of it is probably just you got new guys, Danny Green, Seth Curry, Dwight Howard. You're still trying to.
Morey's trying to still figure it out there.
Exactly.
We know Morey's the mad scientist. He likes to make some moves and make a splash, and he definitely did that and kind of trying to reshape the 76ers roster with rumors of Ben Simmons being in packages and all this kind of stuff. So I'm sure Sixers fans are holding their breath over there, hoping that he doesn't do some ridiculous things in a
Joel
panic.
Embiid didn't play tonight. Just want to throw that in there.
Well,
so
there's
that one means nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So all that to say, I think looking at the week and really looking at the rosters and how the Magic stack up and how the Magic have been playing, I think if the Magic are focused and ready to go, they can beat OKC both nights. Who knows? Maybe you do win against the Sixers with Embiid in the lineup. But let's say you drop it. I think, you're looking at it worst case at the end of this week. I would think the Magic are 4-2 worst case. Most realistically, best case you're 5-1. I think I would be shocked if the Magic are 6-0 at the end of the week. I'd love it to be able to jump on this podcast again next week and after the game and be like, well, the Magic are 6-0, and then I get to do that fun part where I research when the last time the Magic were 6-0 to start the season, see what the results were. Because right now we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
according to the parallel.
Yeah, I think I don't see us going 3-0 like again like that. As incredible as that would be, I think we probably beat OKC twice. And then we lose to the 76ers or maybe we go 1-2. Who knows?
That would make the most sense. But again, I didn't see the Mavericks beating the Clippers like they did today either, and that's why they play.
That was just
so
disgusting. That
who knows
was
how
just
this
disgusting.
week goes.
No Kawhi Leonard, but yeah, 50 points at halftime. I was like, goodness gracious, 27 points in the first half. I would throw up if the Magic did that. Like, oh my goodness. But
the season is young.
The season is young. So last thing that we wanted to touch about. So as many of you know, this past Wednesday, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever the heck it was, the 23rd.
Wednesday.
The Magic, Wednesday. The Magic's home opener at the Amway Center against the Miami Heat. I think the Magic had about 3,400 fans in attendance. I was in attendance. If you haven't already seen it, again, if you don't follow us on social media or anything like that, my wife, graciously enough, did her best to film like we did like a little
At 6-Man
vlog.
Show, by the way.
At 6-Man Show. There you go, buddy.
Yeah.
But we did our best to just document our experience at the Amway Center just so that if you're unsure or you're just curious about how everything is going with the COVID protocols and everything like that, we did like a little vlog. I think it's like 12, almost 13 minutes long. It's kind of lengthy, but there's a lot of good stuff in that. So definitely go check that out. But basically the gist of it is you first get there, you have to download an app called Clear. You fill out a COVID survey asking you, have you had any symptoms the last 10 days or anything like that. From what I've heard from most people is that they are checking that to make sure you completed that to get in. My personal experience, they did not check that. They asked if we had completed that, but we were just like, yeah, and then we walked in. So that was a little bit concerning because my whole thing. And then when you go in, right, they scan your tickets, and then you're good to go. When you complete this survey, you get like a little QR code. That is your health pass, okay, for the Clear app. Now, the concerning thing is, and I don't know exactly how the mechanisms with the app work, but what if I said that I was, symptomatic and everything like that, I had COVID, and then nobody checks this app or scans the app to see what my results were? I'm guessing if you check that you're symptomatic, that you don't get that health pass. You probably get like a stop sign that's like, you are not allowed into this game. But it was just really weird that nobody actually looked at that for us to check that. Now, we entered through the Geico garage. People that entered through like the main entrance said that they actually did ask to see that app before they were let inside. So that was a little bit concerning, but there wasn't like a temperature check or anything like that before you entered the arena. But once you're in, I mean, there's 3,400 people there. I think normally it seats like 14,000 or 16,000, something like that. So it literally felt like there was nobody at the game. We were in our row. There was no one else in our row. There was no one in the row in front of us. And there was like people 2 rows in front of us and then all the way at the end of their row. But everyone was wearing their masks. It seems like the Amway is really taking all the precautions that they can to keep people as safe as possible. So in my opinion,
so you'd go again?
I would go back.
Okay.
I would absolutely go back.
Are you going to go back against OKC?
Not against
Or
OKC. No, definitely not this week. I think the next game that I'm actually going to go to, Luke, is going to be in Tampa against the Raptors.
Oh, the Tampa Raptors.
The Tampa Raptors at Amalie Arena where the Lightning play. So that'll be pretty cool.
When is that? Do you know, around?
That is January 31st. So 30th or the 31st. I think it's the 31st, but it'll be cool to see that. I saw an article that came out the other day that the Raptors like the hot ticket in Tampa right now, which makes sense because they're really the only sport. They're the only show in town right now.
And they just won a championship not too long ago.
Yeah, of how, this is going to spark long-term loyalty to the Raptors in the Tampa Bay area. I will be throwing so many hands like they are going out of style if that's the case. Yeah. If after all of these years of having an NBA team within shouting distance of downtown Tampa, right? If everybody in Tampa just becomes Raptors fans, your boy's going to be locked up with a mugshot. It's going to be ugly.
How far is Tampa drive-wise? We've got some people that listen and Orlando Magic UK fan base, stuff like that, I'm sure. So how far is Tampa from Orlando roughly?
I mean, it's just a straight shot on I-4. It's probably about an hour and 10 minutes, if that.
Yeah,
and that's
just having you say that so people understand just how close Tampa is to Orlando. For the few that might not be aware, but yeah, no, that would be kind of absurd. They're a great team, but they're not great so far. What are they, 0-2, something like that? The season's young, but who would have thought that the Orlando Magic, as of now, are the best team in Florida, including the Tampa Raptors.
And we beat the dirty stinking Heat. I can't stand the Heat. I was so elated that we beat the Heat. Like, as good as it was to get a win on opening night, the fact that it was the Heat, I can't tell you. That might be we beat the Heat last year on opening night. But I don't know. There was just something extra special about this.
They just went to the finals, so it's nice to beat the defending Eastern Conference champs on our home court. Start the year 1-0. Would have been a lot worse. The Heat and Magic fans have a lot of funny exchanges via social media, and it gets a lot of people riled up, but I just kind of laugh about it. But yeah, no, I mean, it's great. I mean, you start 1-0 instead of 0-1, and that kind of gave momentum moving forward. The Magic kind of got that confidence. I mean, what better confidence booster could you have besides beating the Lakers on night one? I mean, and it's your in-state rival.
I don't know if it was because like it had just been so long since I was in the Amway, and it was like we just didn't know when we were going to be able to go back, and I was just like so elated. Like, that's the only word that I can use to describe how happy I was to be in that building again. Because it was like, man, it might be a year, it might be 2 years, like, who knows? So to be in that building, I don't know if it was just I was so happy to be back, or because it was so quiet, you felt like you could hear everything. So I was like extra rowdy. So there were a few sections of fans, of Heat fans sitting around us. Like, if you've been to the Amway for a Heat game, it's almost like being at a Heat home game. It's really disgusting, actually. So the first quarter, like, Duncan Robinson starts hitting threes. So I've got these kids like a few rows in front and like off to the side, but they're hitting the arm three thing. They're doing the three to the temple when Duncan Robinson is hitting threes. So in that fourth quarter, it was like 4 minutes to go, and the Magic call a timeout, and like Evan hits a three, and then dude, I'm slamming my temple with these 3 fingers, and I'm telling these kids how trash Jimmy Butler is and how trash Tyler Hero is. Like, I'm screaming, Tyler, not my hero. Like, I'm doing the whole thing. Like, I was letting and I apologize to you're not listening to the podcast, but I'm sorry, I was acting a fool. But oh man, and then going down the escalator, I'm chanting, nah 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 nah.
Boy,
nah,
please
nah,
tell me there
nah,
were people
nah.
with you saying that.
No, I was all by myself, and my poor wife's like, "Will you stop? Like, you're being ridiculous." I'm like, nobody's gonna fight me. Like, nobody wants to get COVID or anything like that. Like, people are keeping their distance. You know what I mean? But I was just like,
I wish that was included in their vlog about the arena and CDC guidelines. Oh my goodness, that's
I was
incredible.
overjoyed that we beat the Heat. I just hate the Heat. I really, really, really hate the Heat. I really do.
You know what's on my bucket list?
What's that?
Me and you going to a game together.
Oh man, that's gonna happen. Oh, it's absolutely gonna happen. We
Just
came very close. Like had you been in town like the day before, if the game was like, you know, a couple of days out, but it was like for you to come into town, you hadn't seen Lauren and the baby in over a month, to try to go to that, just that wasn't gonna happen.
Hey, I'd be lying if I said that I had to check and make sure that the 26th wasn't a home game. That was Lauren's birthday. And she probably wouldn't have wanted it for her birthday, but I would have wanted it for her birthday, for us to go to the Magic game. But yeah, no, we were close.
I bought you a PlayStation 5 for Christmas. Here you go. You know what I mean?
That probably is the equivalent, actually.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
But yeah, no, I would love to make a Magic game this year, but just don't know if it'll be in the cards for us. So I'll have to live vicariously through you when you go see the Magic beat the Tampa Raptors January 31st. And you know, further proof that the Magic are the best team in Florida, and hopefully at that point our record still looks all right.
Well, 2021 for us, Luke, as you start to have more kids, as you'll eventually learn, their stuff and their crap just gets everywhere, right?
Yep.
So like we bought this house almost it'll be 4 years ago, this February. We are like bursting at the seams in this house. So 2021 we have deemed the year to save for our next home. So unfortunately, I don't know how many Magic games I will be able to attend this year. What I can say, no matter what happens, the Magic make the playoffs, I will be in the Amway Center.
Yeah.
And if luck strikes it the right way and we can get you there, that would be even better.
No.
The most frustrating thing about being at these games is just trying to get people to cheer. Like I scream so loudly that I can taste. I get that metallic taste in my mouth that my larynx are bleeding because I'm screaming as hard and as loud and as long as I can. And especially that game the other night when it's a close game, the last 2 minutes, and people are sitting. There's no one in the stadium. You're not getting in anyone's way if you're on your feet. Just stand. Paul Porter says it at the beginning of every fourth quarter. Stand and cheer your Orlando Magic. And people just don't listen to Paul Porter, Luke.
Disrespectful.
I can't imagine. It breaks my heart.
I can't imagine not listening to Paul Porter.
It's good to hear his
so,
voice.
As we kind of wrap up here, Jonathan, I just want to point out that 538.com, I'm already checking playoff percentages. See what they're thinking. See where they think we're at. Because obviously I could be very unrealistic and be like, it could be irrational of me to say the Magic are definitely making the playoffs because we're 3-0. 538 before tonight had Orlando at a 70% chance to make the playoffs. After the win tonight, 538 has Orlando at 74%. So
So
26% chance we
what
don't
we get? Like a
make it.
percent? We gained a percent tonight.
We gained 4%, Jonathan. We were
4%.
at 70.
Okay.
We got the 74.
Math's not my strong suit. You know that. And today my
Yeah.
spelling. I called Chris Duhan. I called him Chris Dujan today.
Sounds better
on
to
Twitter.
me, honestly.
Like, oh my goodness gracious.
But
So that sounds good to me though.
yeah, I mean, it's 74%. That leaves a 26% chance that Orlando messes it up. But who knows? And that probably just means that Orlando makes the play-in game. I'm guessing the 10 seed spot. I don't know what they're qualifying as the playoffs anymore. Regardless,
I gotta tell you, I like our chances against the Wizards.
I mean, of course. How can you not after going 2-0? I'm interested to see what the rest of the season holds against the Wizards. I think there's 2 more games that have yet to be played that'll be played later this year. So it'll be good. We've got a favorable schedule this week, Jonathan. Ready to see what happens. Hopefully we are at worst 5-1. But yeah, I think that's all I've got. I don't know if you had anything else.
Nope. Last thing I just want to say is we started to go through everyone's surveys from the giveaway that we did a couple of weeks ago. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much. We got legitimately a lot of really useful feedback from you guys. And Luke and I have already talked about how we can implement some of that stuff. So be on the lookout for that. There's probably going to be some changes to the show. We're going to be experimenting with different things possibly. So just bear with us. Thank you. If you guys are new to the show, if you guys have not left us a rating on iTunes, that is so huge and so helpful. If you guys can go and do that, that would be amazing. But other than that, Luke, this week we've got OKC, Philly, and OKC again. And we will be right back here discussing this next week, next Sunday, next Monday, one of those days. Other than that, everybody have a happy New Year's and New Year's Eve as we move on from this terrible, terrible year. Everybody be responsible, be safe, and we will see you guys in 2021, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, for Luke, this has been Jonathan. You guys have been listening to the Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.